Have you ever stumbled upon a silent piece of music? One that it manages to spark a conversation between musicians and their instruments, a true song in itself. In this episode, entitled The Real Book and the Materiality of Musical Practice, we will explore the mechanics of the real book's materiality. The episode examines how the very physical attributes of the real book, from its gutter to its pagination, its binding, its front and back covers, serve as catalysts for a very particular type of user engagement. Welcome to Groovin' High, the podcast that explores the material side of music. This is your host, Hernan Adasme. What is the real book? In the early 1970s, two students from Berklee College of Music in Boston decided to create an updated version of the old fake books. They ended up revolutionizing the ways in which musicians, students, and practitioners of jazz accessed jazz standards. However, we don't know the names of these mysterious students. We'll see shortly why they decided to remain unknown. The fake books were compilations of lead sheet popular songs that specified the basic elements of a composition: its melody, lyrics, chord changes, and an outline of the structure of the song. From the late 1940s on, fake books were widely used by US professional musicians to fake it, that is, to perform a song for an audience without a full score and by displaying a great deal of improvisation over the basic elements of a song. The origins of fake books can be traced back to the tune decks, a pioneering service developed by radio station director George Goodwin. The tune decks was a subscription-based service that provided subscribers with durable index cards that listed copyrighted songs for only $15 a month. Before the advent of recorded music and the high-quality sound systems that fill today's stadiums, live music was a staple at social events. Throughout the 1930s and the 1960s, musicians were tasked with tailoring their performances according to the preferences of their employers. They were supposed to meet the cultural demands of diverse gatherings, from playing polkas at Polish celebrations to delivering the soulful melodies of Italian music and energizing crowds with Latin American rumbas, tangos, and calypsos. Fake books provided the basic musical toolkit to satisfy the demands of music jobs. Although widely used by performing musicians for decades, fake books were illegal. Sheet music bootlegging was considered an infringement of copyright and has been regarded as one of the causes of the decay of the sheet music industry. As the sociologist and piano player Howard Baker recalls, fake books had no name and no publisher and were sold by crooks out of the trunks of cars and in other clandestine ways. As I mentioned in the introduction, in the early 1970s, two enigmatic students, one a student of the famous guitar player Pat Metheny, and the other a student of the vibraphonist Gary Burton, embarked on a project of curating and distributing a collection of tunes that would render the old fake books obsolete. It was the birth of the real book. While the initial aim of these two students was to get some money to pay for college out of the real book, things didn't work out like that. They couldn't prevent the widespread photocopying of the real book. Many musicians and many students got their hands on copies of the real book and multiplied the iteration of this new version of the fake books. The real book came to life as a multiple and stretching entity. As guitar player Bill Wurzel noted in a 1994 New York Times article, everyone has one, but no one knows where they come from. These two students made history in many ways. Besides the fact that the real book provided a very comprehensive collection of songs for musicians and students, the real book also did a great job of standardizing the chord changes of many songs, while at the same time standardized the structure of many of the most popular songs played by jazz musicians and students. My first encounter with the real book dates back to 2011, when I delved into the world of music. It all began when I secured my first job and decided to invest in guitar and jazz lessons with a Chilean music teacher. Under the guidance of this professor, I got immersed in the realm of jazz, eagerly flipping through the pages of the real book and carefully analyzing and memorizing the most common chord changes. At that time, I only had a digital copy of the real book and a handful of printed pages to carry around. The real book served as my gateway to a captivating universe of songs and an endless expanse of musical knowledge. In this podcast, I'll be delving into a modern copy, published by Hal Leonard, which provided a legal foundation for the real book, subsequently inspiring a series of editions and corrections. Contrary to what its name might suggest, the real book is not a traditional book, but rather resembles a rudimentary catalog akin to a telephone directory. Its contents are organized in the most straightforward manner possible, an alphabetical order of song titles. While it is conceivable to arrange the songs based on a variety of attributes, such as composer, lyricist, genre, tempo, or usage, the choice to adhere to the alphabetical order of the real book reflects what is, according to Howard Becker, the most common query among gigging musicians. Do you know? Do you know this song? Do you know Skylark? Do you know Blue Bossa? Do you know There Will Never Be Another You? This organizing method, the alphabetical order of the songs within the real book, reflects the practical needs of musicians, who, despite their extensive repertoires, may encounter a piece that is unfamiliar and may need to collaborate with a musician or a band leader that is suggesting to play a particular song. The spectrum of familiarity with a song can range from a mere recognition of the title to a deep mastery, including understanding of structure, melody, and chord changes. However, in the working career of any musician, or in the studying routine of any student of music, there will come a moment when one must consult a printed or digital version of the real book. Designed as a collection of lead sheets, the real book is crafted for easy consultation. Its pages are made to withstand the rigors of a quick search for requested songs during the fast-paced environment of live performances. The cataloging scheme of the real book was designed to enhance the ease of searching. Its pages are bound together with a ring-like mechanism instead of a traditional gutter, allowing for faster and easier page turning. The plastic cover on the rings is made to endure different surfaces. Contrary to a book, whose natural place are the hands of a reader over the silky smooth surface of a desk, the real book is supposed to withstand travels, floors, grounds, chairs, and amp head cabinets. It is also designed to withstand drinks getting spilled on its pages, and also being stepped on by musicians without damaging the nature of its contents. The real book's materiality aims to survive and resist the mistreatment that comes associated with heavy usage. Its materiality conveys simplicity, at the same time it strives to counter material decay. Even when separated and dismembered, the pages of the real book can stand alone. Most songs are condensed to a single page in the real book, ensuring that the real book inspires the same actions in musicians, even when its pages are dispersed. Every user of the real book can recognize a real book page by just seeing the font and the typography. We are all very familiar with the distinctive font and the handwriting style of its musical notation. These elements are calls to action. Musicians interpret the symbols and produce sounds that are similar, yet uniquely their own. Put together as a diachronic sequence, these sounds, these chord changes, the melody parts and structures evoke a song that actually exists far beyond the real book. The real book harmonizes sound producers, sparking magic as it guides individuals to create sounds that blend seamlessly with others, while still leaving large room for interpretation and unique performances. At its core, the real book establishes a foundational choreography for musicians to follow. It's precisely that sound choreography what creates music. However, the real book is more than a collection of songs. There will be a real book even if the collection of songs changes completely in the next 100 years. Not merely a collection of songs, the real book bridges songs and objects that extend far beyond its limits. Stay tuned. In the next episode, we will analyze what is inside a song within the real book. We will explore in depth the materiality of musical notation and the infinite ways in which musical notation can inspire different actions, different musical actions, and different sounds created by musicians, students, and lovers of jazz. This is Grooving High, a podcast that explores the materiality of musical practice. Thanks for listening.